Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you for joining me. Today is February 21st, 2023. Uh, I didn't have the opportunity to update you on so many explosive news, especially in Ethiopia. Uh, the the situation concerning the Orthodox Church crisis. There is an up and a down situation. That situation is not settled. Uh, I've been following it, but I didn't have time to update you, to report to you. Also, the transitional government talk in Tigray is in the making. Been following different discussion in that region. I hope it will be successful. Transitional government, which Abiy Ahmed hate to talk about it and defended his leadership against that. So now they are forcing the Tigrayan region to form a transitional government. We'll see. So many different news circulating since I reported to you last time, but apologies for not updating you so frequently. Every second, every minute, news change. But I have some news to share with you today. So I will start with reading. Then I have four different videos I selected for you from different media. Thank you again for joining me. So let's get started. The first one is about South Sudan uh, armed group crossing into Oromia region. Not Oromia region, actually, it's in a Gambela region and occupying district for more than a year. Let me read what it says. This is reported by so many media, and I have a translation in English. It says like this: armed forces from South Sudan have been in control of 200-kilometer Ethiopia's border area. This area is called the district of Suri, and they have been in this area for more than 2 years. This area is located in Gambela region, which is a border Ethiopia has with South Sudan. So this illegal armed group in control of Ethiopia's territory. The area taken belongs to the Gambela region, which is bordering South Sudan. The district of Suri is abundant with gold and other natural resources. These South Sudanese armed forces established a legal military camp in this district, and apologies. These South Sudanese forces have been accused of changing the original name of the district into South Sudanese in their attempt to occupy the area permanently as South Sudanese territory. So they are there established military camp, and now changing the district into South Sudanese name in the attempt to control the area permanently. The South Sudanese forces have been also accused of illegal arms trafficking, displacement of local residents, and killing of the residents, and creating tension among the ethnicities living there peacefully for generations. So far, nothing is said from Prosperity Party Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia. And as you know, the other Sudan, Sudan also occupying Ethiopia's territory, fertile land. And this is all happening under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed watch. So now South Sudanese forces taking away Ethiopia's district, Suri, which is full of natural resources, gold and other minerals, and nothing is said from Prime Minister Abiy office or Prosperity Party. If it has happened to another country, this can be a cause of conflict, serious war. But under Abiy Ahmed, Eritrea took control the Tigray region for more than 2 years. Sudan took away fertile land, still occupying. South Sudanese armed forces now in control of Ethiopia's district called Suri. This is also reported in this week. OLA, Oromo Liberation Army, says Oromia region call for reconciliation. Welcome news. Issues key aspect to be classified. So the Oromia regional president Shivalis Abdisa called for peaceful resolution for the conflict. Invited the invitation to disarm and join them, but this thing is not simple like that. I don't think he's serious. If he's serious, he will do all necessary things. Let me read. This is from Addis Standard. In a statement it released in response to a call on Friday by Shivalis Abdisa, president of Oromia Regional State, for reconciliation, the Oromo Liberation Army, OLA, said that any call for peaceful resolution of the ongoing war in Oromia through civilized discourse is a welcome news. However, OLA cautions that the call lacks the requisite clarity and nuance to be too optimistic about the overtures of an imminent peace process in Oromia. OLA's statement came a day after President Shivalis made the call for resolution while addressing the 6th regular meeting of Caffe Oromia, the regional council. In front of this respected Caffe regional parliament, in the name of our people and with great respect, I would like to call on armed groups operating in our region, OLA Shane, to come to reconciliation, Shivalis said. OLA Shane is the common name government officials use to refer to the OLA, a point underscored in the group's statement as one of the key aspects that any peace process ought to clarify from the beginning. This is not their name, Onak Shane. So how can you negotiate with somebody first doesn't recognize you? The call for peace didn't address the OLA, the statement said. The regional president still refers to a phantom armed group called OLF Shanim. Whilst this may not make much difference in substance, it didn't help clarify the already multi-layered ambiguities regarding the prospect for peace and how the Ethiopian government wishes to pursue it. Other key aspects include the group's call that the peace process with it should be led by the federal government and the involvement of international actors as guarantors for the enforcement of mediation agreements. It was the federal parliament, not the regional council, that proscribed the OLA. It is also the federal army that is leading the military engagement against the OLA on the ground, not the regional forces. Therefore, a peace process with the OLA is legally and operationally beyond the purview of the Oromia regional government, OLA further said. Yes, that's true. On May 5th, 2021, the House of People's Representative HOPR designated the TPLF and the Shane as terrorist groups in accordance with Article 18 and 19 of Proclamation Number 1176/2020 on the prevention and suppression of terrorism crimes. The Parliament's decision followed a decision on May 1st by the Council of Ministers, which approved the resolution to designate the groups as terrorist organizations. The designation on both is still active, although a peace agreement between the federal government and the TPLF was signed in November last year. So I don't know why they are still keeping TPLF in the black list as a terrorist organization, and they are dealing with it. So they don't care about laws. The group we have in Addis Ababa, they don't care. They don't care. The first thing supposed to happen, even before or immediately after signing the agreement, the removal of this blacklisting. Before all this normalization, or enjoying coffee together, talking and a round table, all this is, I don't know why they are keeping TPLF as a blacklist. And Onek Shene, we don't know which organization Onek Shene is. This one about Somalis fleeing to Ethiopia. We have our own problem now, more refugees coming to Ethiopia. More than 60,000, mainly women, children, arrived in Ethiopia after fleeing recent clashes in Laskanud, Somalia. UN report. More than 60,000 Somalis, mainly women and children, have fled to Ethiopia's Somali region in the past few weeks to escape clashes and insecurity in the city of Laskanud and in Seoul region. More than half of them arrived earlier this week. Exhausted and traumatized, They have arrived with very little, only taking what they could carry. Women told staff from UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, that they had to sell their belongings to pay for transportation to reach safety. Many of them have lost loved ones in the clashes or have been separated during flights. Families have temporarily settled across more than 13 locations in the town of Buku, Galhamur, and Danut Wardasini in the Dolo zone in Ethiopia's Somali region. In an extremely remote area with a limited humanitarian presence, local communities in Dolo have generously welcomed the refugees, sharing whatever resources they have. But these are quickly depleting as an average of 1,000 people continue to cross into Ethiopia each day. The refugees are hosted in some of the areas in the country worst hit by the drought and the impact of climate change following 5 consecutive failed rainy seasons where resources are already overstretched. With limited options, many newly arrived refugee families have resorted to sheltering in schools and other public buildings, while others have no choice but to sleep outside. Many urgently need food and nutrition support, water, and sanitation facilities, as well as specialized support for people with specific needs. In response to this sudden influx, UNHCR is working with the Ethiopian government, refugees and returnees services (RRS) and regional authorities, together with UN and NGO partners, setting up temporary reception centers and providing immediate life-saving aid. Relief items including blankets, jerry cans, buckets, kitchen sets, plastic sheets, and mosquito nests have already been distributed to over 1,000 vulnerable families, and UNHCR aims to reach another 9,000 families in the coming days. Upon arrival, the refugees are medically screened and initially registered before relocation to surrounding communities or designated sites. Formal registration will be conducted at a later stage, which will provide more accurate population figures. Inside Somalia, more than 185,000 people have been displaced from Las Kanut town and its surrounding area since early February. According to local authorities, displaced families have settled in 66 sites within Somaliland, while others have crossed into the Puntland region in northern Somalia and other villages bordering Ethiopia. As an initial response to these internally displaced, UNHCR through partners will distribute relief items to 3,000 families in targeted locations, and cash assistance is being mobilized to reach 42,000 people for a period of 3 months once the security situation allows access to the area. UNHCR is calling for all parties to respect the safety of civilians and for additional funding support to meet the needs of these newly displaced. UN UNHCR credit at this standard. So I don't know, are they fleeing from Al-Shabaab? That's not mentioned, but just only clashes. So I don't know who is forcing these Somali refugees into Ethiopia, where Ethiopia already facing its own challenge, especially the drought. The drought is impacting about 24.1 million people in Ethiopia. I think it's more than 24 million, but those impacted in especially in Borena, Guji, they are in desperate need of help from United Nations or other non-profit organization. They are not getting from the government, really. They are not getting. The government want to hide, even though the figure, the situation is known. The drought is known. The drought is impacting the whole East African region, Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya. And Ethiopia, they want the Prime Minister and the Prosperity Party talking about exporting wheat through the global community where the people are suffering. So they don't want to talk about people suffering. They don't want anyone to report about the impact of drought, especially in the loss of livestock and now impacting humanity in Borena. This is a very tough. Your government doesn't want to recognize, and that is doesn't want to help you, and he want to export while you are suffering. This is the kind of situation we are under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. I never seen the government like this. Number one, doesn't recognize the problem. Number two, he's hiding from the international community, even though the international community use different means to know, and people are suffering. The Borenas lost what they have, the livestock. Now is coming to kill them, So that is the situation, and the international community, the Oromo community in diaspora, they should let it out to the international community. What Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is talking about exporting is a fake. It's a fake news. People are starving. Ethiopia doesn't need exporting wheat. Ethiopia need more wheat, more other food items to reach out to the people suffering in that country. So don't be misled by his propaganda. Please help the Borena people. Please be the voice for the Borena people and call on the international community to support these people. This is from the last one for today. I will make it short today. This is U.S. security assistance on the way for Ukraine. More U.S. security assistance on the way for Ukraine. The Ukraine war, yes, I don't know how many millions dollar heading that way. I hope this war ends soon, but there's no way because too much money is heading that way. Let me read from, this is from U.S. State Department. This week, we mark 1 year since the Russian government launched its brutal and unprovoked invasion against Ukraine. President Putin expected a quick victory, but despite inflicting widespread destruction and human suffering. He has fundamentally underestimated the boundless courage and steadfast resolve of the people of Ukraine and the support for Ukraine in the international community. Today, pursuant to a delegation of authority from President Biden, I am authorizing our 32nd drawdown of U.S. arms and equipment for Ukraine since August 2021, valued at $450 million, which the President announced during his visit to Ukraine. This security assistance package includes more ammunition for U.S. provided HIMARS, HIMARS, and Howitzers that Ukraine is using so effectively to defend their country, as well as more javelins, anti-armor systems, and air surveillance radars. In addition, I am authorizing an additional $10 million to support our ongoing efforts to provide emergency assistance to keep Ukraine's energy infrastructure up and running in the face of Russia's relentless missile and drone attacks. The United States also continues to rally the world to support Ukraine. We have seen incredible solidarity from our allies and partners. We applaud the more than 50 countries who have come together in solidarity with Ukraine as it defends its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Russia alone could end its war today. Until it does so, we will stand united with Ukraine for as long as it takes to strengthen its military on the battlefield so that they will be in the strongest possible position at any future negotiating table. That is from Antony Blinken, U.S. Secretary of State, on more assistance, security assistance on Ukraine. So money is flowing in different form, and the war is not ending. Ukraine is under destruction for more than a year now. I don't know, I stated before, they should, NATO or others, they should join the Ukraine force instead of pouring weapons and the money. That will be, that will be effective. Join with everything you have, human, expert, human power, plus weapons and the money. If not, you're just putting fuel into the fire because you are not stopping the war. The country is under destruction from Russian bombardment, and they are just adding money, millions and millions and weapons. But that's not the solution to me. That's my opinion. Thank you. So let's listen to 4 short videos I selected for you. The first one is about African Union resolution meeting concluded. So what they discussed, what they planned. Let's listen to that one and continue with other videos. Thank you.
The 36th African Union Summit has concluded in the Ethiopian capital. Heads of state and government agreed to accelerate implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The Assembly also committed to preventing insecurity, especially unconstitutional changes of government. Here's CGN's Gurumchala with the details. 2 days of intense conversation among leaders of the continent. The theme of this year's summit is accelerating the implementation of the Continental Free Trade Area, and it took the longest debating hours. The incoming chairperson of the Union, who is also president of the Union of Comoros, Azali Assoumani, expressed commitment to the full implementation of decisions.
Objectives that we have set for ourselves for the year 2023, which is the acceleration of the implementation of the AFCFTA. I shall leave no stone unturned to ensure that this becomes a reality, and also to ensure that we have peace and security, because there cannot be any development without peace.
The peace and security situation of the continent was also high on the agenda of the heads of state and governments. The summit decided unconstitutional change of government will not be tolerated, but sanctions must target responsible individuals, not citizens in respective nations.
We are mindful of taking sanctions. We also do understand that economic sanctions affect the very social fiber of our respective countries. That is why we are looking at targeted sanctions, especially those who are actors of those unconstitutional change of government, so that the populations do not suffer. And we want to extend our sincere sympathy to those Africans who are suffering from this unconstitutional change of government.
Another key decision is on a debt burden many African countries are facing at the moment. The summit has proposed a reform in the world's largest financial institutions.
Some have proposed moratorium, others have proposed a complete cancellation of debts. Therefore, the issue of debt is still a pending one, and it is having a direct toll on the economic and social development of our respective countries. The issue cannot be solved in isolation, especially given the fact that international monetary and financial system do not operate in favor of our countries.
Dozens of side events were also held on situations in the Sahel, Libya, as well as Eastern DRC. The next big task now member states of the Continental Organization are facing is implementing decisions. The African Union entertains repeated critics and blames for weak performance in that regard, but many prefer to see light at the end of the tunnel this time around. Group Dallas UTN, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Whether you're just getting into auto repair or you're a professional mechanic, Harbor Freight is your destination for quality auto tools at the...
Mass protests in Israel against a plan to overhaul the country's legal system. Tens of thousands of Israelis rallied again this Monday in front of the parliament in Jerusalem as the vote began on the judicial reform proposed by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's new government. The reform, they say, would erode the separation of powers and weaken the formal foundations of Israeli democracy, granting excessive power to the executive.
השינויים האלה הולכים לפגוע בנשים, בלהט"בים, בכל מגזר, אין מישהו שלא ייפגע, ומי שלא מבין את זה, זאת בעיה בפני עצמה.
I wish I could say I was optimistic. I don't know if it's going to stop the legislation, but at least people will know that it doesn't represent us.
היום הוא אחד הצעדים הראשונים להפיכת ישראל בפועל מדמוקרטיה למשטר.
So see the translation. So if he's speaking in Hebrew, I think.
Netanyahu and his ultra-religious and ultra-nationalist allies voted on two of the bills included in the reform, which aim to change the composition of the Judges Selection Committee and to restrict the Supreme Court's ability to review and change laws.
Baby Afra is being welcomed into her new home. Her parents and siblings died when the quake struck. Her uncle Khalil wanted to take her in right away, but it took several days before she was allowed to join his household. Now she's back with family, sitting alongside Khalil's own newborn daughter.
Afra was born under the rubble. She was at the hospital and we received her today. She is in good condition. The reason behind the delay receiving her is that we were asked for some
That's
legal
a
procedures by the
miracle,
officials
really,
in the area.
to survive
They
from
checked that we were her relatives.
that earthquake.
Afra was found under the ruins of her family's home in Jindiris. She was apparently born under the rubble, her umbilical cord still connecting her to her dead mother. Despite the loss of all her immediate family, Afra's discovery made her a symbol of hope as rescuers searched for survivors. Jindiris is one of the towns that was worst hit by the earthquake. As a UN convoy of more than 140 trucks full of aid arrived in northwest Syria, officials made a point of visiting there.
I'm shocked by the scale of destruction. I've never seen anything like it in all my life. There's huge needs, obviously, particularly in shelter. Also, people need fresh water. They have medical needs. And, we need to scale up the response to help the people.
As survivors of the quake wait for the help they need, they'll have to rely on each other more than ever. Fintan Monahan, Al Jazeera.
Okay, one more. North Korea firing again ballistic missile. I think this is a joint US-Korean military exercise. So it's
北朝鮮は昨年から立て続けにミサイル発射を繰り返し、朝鮮半島そして地域の緊張を著しく高めています。一連の北朝鮮の行動は、我が国地域及び国際社会の平和と安全を脅かすものであり、断じて容認できません。
Okay, that's the end, I think, for today's election. So that's the area we should seriously watch. The North Korea repeated, increased capability of ballistic missile testing again and again, and U.S. engagement with Japan and South Korea especially. That's a tough area to watch. This is one of the global challenge we have. The North Korean nuclear and other ballistic missile issues, and the US, Japan, and South Korea concerned about that one. The challenge we have already is Russia-Ukraine war. It's not only Russia-Ukraine, but the whole NATO plus the United States and other countries joined, at least by providing technology, weapons, money. The only thing missing is human power. And the other challenge is the Iran nuclear development. That's also another concern. So many concerns in this world. So many challenges. So let me conclude. Under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, Ethiopia is, giving away territories easily, and the citizens don't know, and such things could create war between countries, but Abiy Ahmed is silent. Prosperity Party is silent. South Sudanese armed forces taking a district and holding it and using its natural resources, even attempting to take away from Ethiopia, take it to South Sudan territory, plus carrying out illegal arms trafficking, causing tension, displacement, and the killing of locals. This is a crime. I don't know. I don't know if Ethiopia has, a government. Really is a failure of government in multiple fronts. Sudan already took away a fertile land by chasing out and killing farmers. The government is still in a rat kilo we have, and the citizens are quiet. This is a challenge we have. I don't know how it's going to be resolved under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. This is a different kind of leadership. And Prosperity Party, Abiy Ahmed, ideology or their take is just positive thinking. They don't want to report about the days, destruction, or about the drought or hunger in the country. By doing so, people will suffer, and they are not getting from international organization. And the Borenas are the victim, the Borena Oromos and the Gujis, they are the victims. They are not getting the desperately needed aid. The government doesn't want to recognize it, as I said, and doesn't want any media to report. So, but news will come out anyway. People are suffering. They lost their livestock. They lost everything they have. Now the drought is impacting them. So please reach out to the Borena Oromos and the Guji Oromos. Be the voice for them. Let the international community know about this challenge and about the misleading Ethiopia exporting farm product to the global community. That's a fake news. That's a fake news. If they are forcing the farmers to sell their product in a very cheap price and collecting this and exporting. That's what they're doing. Just, to create positive image. But that's a fake. Ethiopians, as I said, more than 24 million. They need international help, humanitarian aid. So the United States, European Union, United Nations, other NGOs, please help Ethiopians, help Oromos, especially in Borena zone, and Oromos in the diaspora community and others. Please be the voice for these people. Expose this fake news about Ethiopia exporting wheat to the global community. So that's all I'm gonna say for today. I'm happy to come back and to share whatever news available to you. Thank you, and I will be back with other news and updates. Be safe and so long, everyone.